Once I flip that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Pay attention, I'm on a mission. I'm there with a vision. Got a passion, making it happen. Ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We coming ready or not, you better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indian, we're electric, never stop. We coming ready or not, we coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere getting high. We're trouble when we get crazy, we get wild. Got dynamite in our blood, get ready and buckle up. When we go big, we blow up in ferocious style. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. 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 Oh, pain on our face. Oh, drums of thunder that keeps our pace. And make no mistake, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got. We're giving all that we got. All that we got, yeah. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We'll never know. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not.
Racing isn't easy. but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Race night back here again Monday night. This is iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network simulcast, and we are set to go with round number 3. Hard to believe it. Third round tonight. The Northwest iRacing Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV. We're at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and we are ready to go. We hope you're strapped in and ready to go on the mile and a half. I am Wesley Outland, joined alongside, back again, our friend of the North from Canada, Justin Prince. Jason Rockefeller is also here with us tonight as well. Justin, it's great to have you back. Are you ready to see what the Northwest Truck Series has provided? Because for the last 2 weeks, the finishes have probably been some of the best we've seen in Northwest competition since its inception, probably.
Yeah, tonight should be an intriguing one to say at the very least here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, because one of the main discussion points by some of the drivers in preparation for tonight, trying to find grip, trying to make sure they aren't sliding around the racing surface. While the first 2 races definitely been a thrower tonight, going to be a very much challenge for our drivers this evening to see, can they handle a mile and a half compared to the super speedway style racing with Daytona and Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And Jason, you and I both have put our voices to octave levels we never even realized we had because of the crazy finishes we've seen the last couple of weeks. What do you think we'll see here tonight at Homestead-Miami? Do you think things will calm down, or do you think it's only going to add fuel on the fire?
I think it's definitely going to add some fuel on the fire, but this is where the season really starts. This is where you're going to have a lot of your more cookie-cutter racetracks and stuff like that. Homestead-Miami, as Justin said, it's going to be really slick here tonight. Guys are going to be struggling to find grip, just like they were back in November. Tyler King took home the championship, and Caden Anderson won that race. Mind the fact, Caden Anderson won the first race of the season just a handful of weeks ago at Daytona, and Dan Lather won last week. Boy, Wesley, I thought you were going to probably, take up all your clothes and fall on the floor, man. You were screaming, and oh my God, it was just such a finish. But this is where the season really starts tonight. You're going to see a lot of guys struggling for grip, multi-groove racing. That's why these drivers love this track.
I tell you what, Justin, I throw it back to you, bud. The Northwest Racing Series has been something that for 10 seasons now is probably the best premier iRacing virtual drivers in the Pacific Northwest on iRacing, gathering every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, now Monday and Wednesday. And the trucks are now the premier Monday night package instead of the Cup cars in years past. Your thoughts on that?
Well, when it comes to the trucks, it allows drivers to have more time in preparation for the Road to Pro side of things in particular, because keep in mind, a lot of the respective dates from the truck side follow that Road to Pro schedule at the eNASCAR ladder. So it gives drivers who want to take the chance to qualify some time to in turn either test out setups or in turn, in some cases, carry over the setups they've ran the previous time out and see if they can try and repeat some success if they had any from the previous Thursday in some of the track schedules this season. But in terms of the truck sim itself, it's going to be also the true test of not only the skill of the drivers, but also their ability on being able to set up these respective trucks, be able to show their setup knowledge, and in turn, be able to see how they play out long run with the different strategies that can come into play when it comes to an open setup like trucks.
And Jason, I got to ask you this question. We've seen Caden Anderson win in Daytona. We saw last week Dan Lowther win that crazy finish in Atlanta. Do we see some of these drivers really step up to the plate? And let's be honest here, we've seen new names that are popping up that can be contenders to win on this series. It used to be back in the day, maybe 5 drivers could be the cream of the crop to win in this series on any given night. Now, I think you could probably bump that up to 15 or even 20.
Yeah, you probably can. I mean, look at Dan Lowther, just won last week in Atlanta. I mean, yes, we've had 2 super speedway type racetracks for the first 2 races of the season. But, you know, we just talked about Caden Anderson, too. He's a driver who was very strong when I started over here at LSRTV. In fact, won the first race I called with you guys. He's going to be one who's always out here coming right out of the gate, trying to be strong. But I look at guys like Aaron Cooper, super strong the last 2 races. Ryan Bloom back at it again this season, trying for redemption. Mark Walls, you said these last 2 races took that little bit of a break, and now he's back better than ever. He's here to, quote-unquote, have fun. We all know what that means, let's face it. So it's going to be interesting to see some of these guys. Another driver, though, that I really circle with my pen on paper for is Dylan Huffine. He's been very good the last 2 races. This is going to be his test to see if he's going to be able to contend with these Northwest guys. I think Dylan Huffines is probably my early season, favorite to win this title, might you say, for not only the Truck Series, but also the Fixed Series on Wednesdays. I think Dylan's going to really show the world what he's made of here on the Northwest side.
We'll go on track in just a few moments as the drivers' meeting is about to wrap up. But Justin Prince, you've called many iRacing events at Homestead-Miami, as I have as well. And I think the word that comes to mind every time we give an introduction has to be, my friend, precision banking. We're going to see that, all of these different opportunities to drive different lanes of the racetrack from the bottom to the top of the safer barrier.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that's important to think about tonight. Who's willing to run up against the wall, trying to get the run off the corners? Because keep in mind, it's very quick if you run against the outside wall, especially in 3 and 4, I've noticed, especially with this track. But you also risk burning up the tires if you run too long up there. So do you take that gamble of trying to push and hope you can switch the tires out? Or do you try and stick to the bottom and conserve the tires for a later run push? There's a lot you have to consider in turn. I think you have to circle your points leader to start off the season. No victories, but 2 top 5s and top 10s. Ryan Gormley has looked strong throughout the night in practice. Top 5 in the charts. He might actually have some strong speed in turn for the 1.5 mile here. We'll have to see.
Again, he's Justin Prince, Jason Rockefeller. I'm Wesley Outland. Charles Wooten behind the backgrounds for Rocket Racing Media, putting the buttons in, and we go on track now. And here comes qualifying, and right out of the gate, Jason, San Antonio, Texas. Mark Walls in his Ford. After a 3-year absence, he is no doubt looking for a checkered flag tonight if he can pull it off.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been strong the last 2 weeks like we had talked about, Wesley. As you see him right now, very loose there in the center. Justin had mentioned earlier, and he's actually going to slap the wall there off the corner, so he's going to have to back it down here. Probably not even going to be able to get a second run, really. Here's BJ Duvall Also, really like Mark Walls' paint scheme, but you can just see how slick it is for some of these guys. Justin had mentioned it just a few short moments ago. You see how loose BJ Duval is going through 3 and 4. These guys are really going to be struggling with grip here tonight for sure, Wesley.
And Duval is on track now. The Dubby number 32 from Huntington, West Virginia, Toyota. Picked up his first career Northwest win, Justin, on Thursday night at Volusia with the new Northwest Dirt Super Late Model Series.
Not a surprise when it comes to Duval because he is a dirt specialist and was one of the drivers who tried to put a focal point on trying to qualify for the Pro Series on iRacing on the dirt side. Duval's luck's not been there throughout the years when you think about it, though, in the mile and a half. Hopefully, in his circumstance, turns around tonight. But already seen a lot of the drivers trying the different lines. The best of the best, though, we've seen throughout the years at Homestead, especially the past couple of years, like to run that outside, build up that speed the first lap, then attack the bottom, like we're seeing drivers like Paulson do the second lap. He's on his first lap, mind you, so that is a major difference mark of at least a tenth of a second if you run the top of the first lap compared to the bottom.
Right now, Dennis Moore setting the bar with a 32.63. Brian Reynolds, 32.65. Here comes Paulson. Little wicked loose on the back end of the truck as he crosses the line. Paulson, however, though had that little ill-handling truck, cracks into the top 5. And Kevin Smith is now gone to the top of the board with a fast time of a 32.59. Wow.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job these first 2 races. I really look for Kevin to be another driver. He's a regular to the Northwest Series, obviously. You know, him stepping it up with CLICKIT RV being the premier sponsorship for not only the trucks but also the fixed series. So good job for Kevin. What a driver he is. And I'm sure he's got a lot to prove here this season. Kevin's been kind of a mid-pack to top 10 driver. Seen him had his shining moments over here on the Northwest Division. But with these first 2 races, he's had 2 strong runs, practically dominated Atlanta last week. And now that he's sitting up at the top of the charts here in qualifying, still a few more drivers to go before they round out qualifying here. I look for Kevin to be a driver this season where he's really going to try to prove to everybody that he belongs here. He's contending for wins because he's definitely developed over the offseason. Kevin Smith's probably been one of the biggest shocks to me of how much he's developed as a driver since last season.
And how about this, Justin? Over close to 40 entries ready to go here tonight as we watch Frank Harris qualify in the Ford.
Yeah, massive field, which means in turn you want track position because it's not going to be easy to pass 40-plus trucks, to say the very least, tonight. Looking like that 11 machine might be built towards the top side. An interesting line, though, for Harris since it's his second lap. I'm surprised he's taking the top in 1 and 2 there.
Right now, Kevin Smith setting the bar. Dennis Moore second. Brian Reynolds third. Tyler King, Stephen Paulson, the top 5. Frank Harris now coming across the line. Where will he end up in truck number 11? How about this, Jason? A solid top 10. He's in 8th for the 11, and now we see Jeff Stabnow hitting the track in his LSRTV 4K Ford.
Yeah, we talk about Frank being the legend as Troy Daggett goes up to the top 5. He places 4th right now with a 32.75. Stephen O'Hare just rounded out his lap in 9th. But yeah, what a job for Frank as he now heads back to 10th right now on the leaderboard. He was another driver who was really struggling last year, I remember. And now that he's in this season, he's looking to try to set the world on fire just like everyone else. Here he is currently sitting in 11th. Great run for Frank as we ride on board now with Jeff Stabnow, who's currently trying to shoot for the pole. He's been very fast in qualifying these last 2 weeks in the Northwest Division. We're going to have to see here as he's getting ready to come across the line where he's going to end up here on the leaderboard.
Driver to Billings, Montana, crossing the line. Wow. 13th. He was 31st on his first lap. Second qualifying lap, JP puts him all the way to 13th, 14th spot in qualifying. Good run. Here's Breitzman now.
I think that kind of just shows the differential between the top of the board and the bottom of the board. But Sean Breitzman, I think, is somebody you have to watch out for. Dad West Jr. showed some of the speed when it comes to those LSRTV back trucks. What they can do if you hit your marks right. He might be, if he hits this line right and carries enough momentum without having to scrub off any speed, on the line for a top 10 here. It looks like he's got great speed. It's the matter, though, of just making sure he doesn't make a mistake on exit like that.
Almost slams the safer wall barrier, keeps it off the wall. He is going to end up 17th. What a drive there. Toyota, number 46, former champion of the series at the Cup level. And Kevin Smith still right now the fast man. All these drivers still continuing to qualify as the qualifying is about to actually wrap up here. We'll see who puts down the fast time. It looks like, actually, Jason, Kevin Smith is going to be the man right now.
Yeah, what a good job for Kevin. I mean, last week I just talked about it. You know, I mean, he was so strong at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it's a shame that he wasn't able to pick up that victory after the chaos that ensued later on in the race. Kevin's ready to put some redemption down here tonight at the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway, and that is a pretty solid lap. And like I had talked about earlier, he was a driver who was about a mid-pack to top 10 driver, had his shining moments. Here he is. What a start to the season he's had so far, being up at the front, leading laps the first two races, and here he is tonight with a pole in the Northwest Truck Series here at Homestead.
Hey, while qualifying is about to expire, it looks like unofficially Kevin Smith is going to lock up the pole. Let's take a look at the Kaufman Creative weather conditions here for this race. Air temp at 79 in the sim, 8 mile per hour wind speed, partly cloudy, which means it's going to be cloudy, sunny, which for the last couple of races in daytime conditions, it's being partly cloudy. We've not had an abundant sunshine day. We have not had a mostly cloudy day. It has moments of cloud and sun. Track temp at 91 degrees, or now it's actually jumped up to track temp at 104 here at race time. Justin, what is that going to be like for these drivers, especially racing 25 degrees warmer than the air temp?
Well, in regards to that, I think it's more so just where the air temperature is right now. Because that means with how high it is, you can't run as high as an amount of tape as some may run at, say, 75 or even 76% or 77% degrees Fahrenheit. So I think that's more so the factor compared to the grip levels are more the lower end, I will say. But it's going to be the more of the concern of how much tape you can actually put on this truck.
Ready to go for racing in round 3 of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV. I'll introduce the first top 20. You grab the top 10 behind them, Jason and Justin, or vice versa. And we are ready to go here. 41 trucks and the starting lineup. Kevin Smith on the pole, obviously setting fast time. The Walla Walla Washington driver. To the outside, Dennis Moore in 44. Row 2, we'll find Ryan Bloom in the 25 and to his outside, Briar Reynolds in the 12. Row number 3, Troy Daggett and the Truck Series champion of last year, Tyler King in the 21. Row 4, Dan West Jr., 2-time series champion in 2020 and 2021, and Stephen Paulison to the outside. And the top 10 will find Dan Lowther, winner last week in Atlanta, and Stephen O'Hare in the 41. Row 6, we'll find Toby Ritter's Clifford in the 23 and Kenneth Garber 94. Row number 7, Frank Harris and another former champion of the series, Jeff Stabnow in 24. Row number 8, Aaron Cooper, Bug Eyes, ready to go in 71, and a former Cup Series champion of the Northwest, Chris White in 47. Row number 9, Sean Brightsman, a 2-time Cup Series champion, and Paul Newton, the road course king, will fire off 18th. Your top 20 finds Dylan Huffines and Eric Cheney. He'll start 20th in the 76, Justin.
21st spot tonight goes to Robert Gambill in the 33-second bracket. He'll start alongside the 18 of Roy Grande. Behind them, a longtime Northwest Series veteran, it's Brian Barnes in 23rd, alongside one of the drivers to watch for the mid-packets, Caden Anderson in 24th. 25th spot tonight goes to Ron Hunter, with Jaden Ledbetter all the way back in the 26th spot. Then you have one of the winningest drivers in Northwest Racing Series history, Mark Walls in 27th. He'll start alongside the 700 of Shane Quinn. Rounding at the top 30 tonight, it's Brett Grunwald with Chris Kynes rounding out your top 30 grouping. Among some of the final drivers on time, John Ottenbacher 31st with Bryce Clark back in the 32nd starting spot. Then it's Burke Duval in 33rd and 34th. Row 18, Camary and the points leader, Gormley in 36th after a bad qualifying run. Troy Olson and Gary Nichols. And 3 more entrants on the night include BJ Tidrick, Eric Cox, and Dana Rogers. Of note, Cox not on the grid, coming up for the green.
So it's going to be 40 trucks ready to come down to the line. Mile and a half, precision banking. Round 3, Northwest Trucks at Homestead. We're underway. Watching some slicing and dicing on the jump of the go in the first 2 turns. And quickly, Kevin Smith will scamper out in front as they hit the safer barrier on lap number 1. And look at him break apart from 2 wide to 3, 4, 5 wide to the back straightaway.
Good run through 3 and 4. Kevin Smith with a good launch. He had been quick. In fact, all the CLICKIT machines up at the front had looked strong in practice. They carried that speed for the first lap. 1, 2, 3, the teammates.
Look at this, Jason. Sean Brightsman all the way to the bottom of the apron, below the white line.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of guys there get loose off turn number 4, especially Justin had talked about it. It's going to be, you can see one truck way up in the wall back there. Not going to be a factor. That looks to be Chris Kamir right there in the number 15 machine, I believe. But Justin talked about it. It's going to be super slick. You're going to see guys struggling for grip all night long. You're going to see a lot of guys get loose off turn 2 and off turn 4 tonight. We saw that be a huge
front
factor.
straightaway. 53, Carl Burke has slammed the inside wall. We're under caution for the first time tonight. Burke had been running in the 20s before spinning it around.
The yellow flag will come out for the first time here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway with an accident on the on the front straightaway. Let's go back to Justin Prince for an update on what happened.
Well, that was a tough situation with Carl Burke. He had been loose all the way through 3 and 4 in the battle for the edge of the top 20, if not 30th. Trying to pull the slider on Onenbacher, was sliding himself before. Gets loose, gets a little boot, and in turn Burke tries to correct it. Gets a little loose across the banking, and that's enough to slam to the inside wall. Pin-pawns him up the racetrack, and that brings out our first yellow already.
Got to give mad props to John Onenbacher, Jason, somehow to avoid Carl Burke. But, yeah, Carl Burke's truck into the inside safer barrier, and that will put us under the yellow flag for the first time here on lap number 3. In addition to all of the other great sponsors, we would also like to acknowledge my buddy Brian Morehouse from NASCAR and CLICKIT RV. By the way, they are the title sponsor for the NASCAR Xfinity Series event on Saturday night at Martinsville Speedway. And they're a sponsor of our caution information summary. And for right now in this race, we have 1 caution so far for the CLICKIT. For the 811 call before you dig caution summary. Again, before you dig, make sure you go to 811, call 811 before you dig. And again, we were glad to have them be the caution summary sponsor. And right now we are 1 caution flag into this race. And again, just a tough break there for Carl Burke. The only good thing from this, Justin, is you got a fast repair. You can use it, but it's very, very early to do it.
You definitely don't want to have to use it this early in this type of a race, especially with how difficult it could be in the late stages. To put it politely, you end up with damage on the right side of your truck. It puts you down so much you may as well put an anvil on the side of the truck instead. It brings the straight line speed down 3 to 4 miles an hour, which is killer on the 1.5 miles and destroys your aerodynamics to where you can't drop down the straightaways and you lose time in the corners. In other words, you do not want to pick up damage at all, let alone you have to use the fast repair this early to fix it.
Well, Jason, what's your thoughts, buddy? 4 laps in, coming up on 5, 2 under caution, and man, just hopefully this is not the plethora of yellow flags that we've seen, for sure.
Yeah, well, it could possibly be. I mean, right there, Justin called it there coming off the corner. 2 trucks got into it, and unfortunately, that was just about getting loose, you know, and then Ottenbacher made contact with them. It's going to be like that all day long here with the heat just beaming down on this racetrack. The track temp just probably going to keep going up. With the drivers running around this racetrack continually for 134 laps, laying down hot, steaming hot rubber, man. So it's going to be one to watch. I mean, like I said earlier, you're going to see guys getting loose off turns 2 and off turns 4, even on the nighttime back in November when we called this race for the championship night. A lot of guys were losing it off turn 4, and now with it being daytime, I'm most guaranteeing that they're going to see a lot more of that here later on in the race.
Well, it's a quick caution as the lights are already out on the pace truck. Or pace car. We'll get ready to send them back for the restart here as course Kevin Smith, Dennis Moore, front row. Ryan Bloom, Brian Reynolds on row number 2. Dan West Jr. into the top 5. Tyler King in that 21. Stephen Paulison, all these drivers along with Lowther, winner last week at Atlanta, Garber, and the top 10 as we get ready to settle back in for the restart. This race is 200 miles, 134 laps, 3 attempts at overtime if necessary to green-white checker. And of course, round 3, back to green. Look at Kevin Smith now on the restart, taking that whole shot, Justin, up to the outside, safer barrier, putting the block on more as they go off into turn 1. But by the way, they're teammates, 1, 2, and 3, along with Bloom.
Good launch off to the back, straight away this time. O'Hara wants those, trying to shuffle the outside line, though. Keep an eye on King. Has the preferred line side by side for 4th. Brian Reynolds trying to find a way to clear on the high side.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jason, we're watching them working their way come off that corner. Look at now Tyler King. He's kind of had an up and down start to this season, the defending Truck Series champion, but right now he's got some help with Dan West Jr. giving him a little push there to work around the Garber truck in turn number 2.
Yeah, and he's got to be thinking to himself, hey, man, I won the championship last year. I'm best. I'm trying to come out here, and I'm trying to do really well. And, I mean, it has been a rough start to the season for the previous year champion, Tyler King. So he's looking to make some headway up here towards the front right now, sitting P5, so just inside the top 5. But as these tires wear away, you see the 41 right there of Stephen O'Hara gets super loose there off the corner. He's got to be careful, though, because everybody's getting really loose, and there's trouble lurking off every corner here at Homestead today.
Top 5 trucks single file behind them. They are 2 by 2, beginning with West and King, Garber and O'Hare. Lowther now starting to run that driver down in the 63. He cracks the top 10 with Cooper, Justin, as they go to 3.
And Lowther wants those going to take the high side, seen for the back end of O'Hare. How things are playing out. The tough part about that, you burn up the right front tire if you run up at the top side for too long. Lowther electing to go for the track position and go where everybody else is in for clean air.
And look at Lowther up on the top side of the safer barrier. Don't know if that might have been the perfect thing to do right now, but again, though, Jason, it is the early going. So you really want to kind of pace yourself for the moment as we're only 10 laps in at the line.
Yeah, Justin talked about it right during pre-race. You really want to try to get on that bottom lane. Yes, the outside has speed. The way that I look at this is that usually when you have a fresh set of tires, you want to try to get the most out of it, probably about 5 to 6 laps at most, before you really want to start saving, because a track like this with the abrasive surface that it has, how old it is, it's going to eat away your tires, just like a cheese grater, like Larry Mack used to say on all the Fox broadcasts. But that's the truth. So you really want to try to get down to the bottom, because you risk yourself being up high and really wearing out that right front. And then when you do try to go to the bottom, you're going to be very tight. You're going to be a lot slower than most of the other guys who've been running that bottom.
10 laps into this race, now working lap 11. As Smith is still the man out in front there. You see the 41 of O'Hare. He's down to the bottom of the racetrack in the number 8 position. Lowther right behind him. Look at these trucks come off of 2. Smith has got the momentum working. And now, just like that, they go to a conveyor belt single file going to 3, Justin.
Not a surprise with was just mentioned with the tire wear focal point. O'Hare trying to find a way to keep up with Garber and company, though. Tyler King also staying to the line, working for the back end of Reynolds. Already trying to focus on how to find a way around the car that's making him thirsty.
Look at now Reynolds on the inside, help with the points champion of last year, Tyler King. And this battle continuously heated, Jason, between Garber the 94 and now Weston the 55, trying to clear him.
Yeah, he's just trying to clear him right now, and Wes is just really going to eat up his tires by running up in that outside lane. You can see he's not really able to clear Brian Reynolds there off the corner, and it's probably because we're about 13 laps in. Now, yes, we did have that short little caution period around lap 4 So now he's really just trying to make headway up at the top of the racetrack, but he's not really doing much. Yeah, the tires haven't worn completely, but it's not really doing him justice here because currently he's just riding up at the top of that racetrack, collecting all the dirty rubber and all the specks debris that's up there. It's not really that clean up there at the top of the racetrack right now. So he's trying to really work it in right now, but it's not working completely, but he was able to get clear of the 12 there.
Round number 3 of the Northwest Truck Series, presented by CLICKIT RV. Tonight from Homestead-Miami Speedway, the place where the championship was held last November for the trucks. And of course, Tyler King ended up being the man to win that race, to win the championship. And now we see what Kevin Smith can do in that 00. He's been strong of late. Definitely, Justin, he's somebody that we've watched over the years get better and better with this series.
Yeah, he's been very stellar when it comes to his pace. Has gotten better, though, on the long run, because he used to be stronger on the short to mid-run, then fall off at the end of races, especially we've seen at the start when it comes to Northwest ARCA Series back around 3-4 years ago. But as time has progressed, he's been getting stronger on the long run, more consistent, and in turn been contending in some turns for victories we've seen, especially last year with the Cup Series. So Kevin Smith definitely gaining some confidence. It very much is helpful, though, when you have all your teammates lined up behind you, all you dead set in terms of your momentum, in terms of your marks, and very consistent on them. And in turn, look at the gap between them and the rest of the field. They have the setup, it seems, compared to everybody else in terms of speed tonight. And where did Kevin go?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, man, this is a travesty for the 00. I think that Kevin Smith might have just timed out. And this one out put Dennis Moore to the lead. Bloom to second. Heartbreak for the 00 leading there, Jason.
Wow. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. That's the first time I've seen that happen here out of all the races I've been calling over here on LSRTV. And it didn't just happen to like somebody running 16th, 17th. It happened to the dang leader. I cannot believe that. And Kevin Smith right now has got to be pounding at his virtual sim rig right now saying, man, what the heck do I got to do to win one of these races? What do I got to do to stay up front? He was so strong last 2 weeks. Here he is running P1 and just disconnect like that. That's crazy.
So what is the deal, Justin? Can you blink only so many times and then you get kicked from the server automatically, or is it, did he basically just have a engine meltdown, if you will, meaning he lost internet service to the iRacing sim?
That's the thing, he didn't blink whatsoever in the sim. That's the major thing that I think it's important to emphasize here. It was just straight up simply losing that connection at the wrong time for even a split second can cause it. Any type of issue with the internet can end up causing that disconnection. And I will say this, apparently he did maintain connection to Northwest Racing Series' TeamSpeak server utilized tonight, but not the server. So whatever happened to on his end internet-wise took him off the racetrack and only the racetrack.
Heartbreak for the Walla Walla Washington driver. And now he has put himself in a very big hole, going multiple laps down, no doubt, for the driver of the 00. Meanwhile, look at all these trucks work their way into the back straightaway. You take your pick of action. Paulison and Huffines battling. You saw a moment, the 71 of Aaron Cooper. All of this is going on, Jason, inside the top 10.
Yeah, and everybody's been doing a great job. Mark Walls is up right now, plus 16 from where he started. So he's a man on a mission right now. He's definitely one to watch as him and Huffines continue to battle. Two of the guys I talked about during pre-race who are two of the guys to watch this season. Again, Mark Walls coming back after a few years of a break from Northwest action. And here's Dylan Huffines, a guy who I hadn't seen last season. Here he is, shows up in the Northwest Series, and he's been setting the track on fire these last 2 weeks, being very strong, always a guy to talk about. And here he is right now, working his way up, plus 7 from where he started. Currently just inside the top 15, sitting in 12th right now. But everybody's starting to get a little bit separated because tire wear is starting to play a factor. You see more and more drivers start to migrate towards that bottom.
"22 laps completed now in this mile-and-a-half contest here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. 134 laps the distance. And we're also popping up on the top of the hour. Right now, Dennis Moore is the leader. Ryan Bloom in second. Tyler King, Dan West Jr., Ryan Reynolds, the top 5. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification, and we'll be back from Homestead-Miami.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Midnight Eastern Time, 11 Central, and right now 9 Pacific for these drivers of the Northwest Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV. It's round number 3 tonight from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. The points leader, Ryan Gormley, in the wall. He saves it though, Justin, no caution.
Yeah, Gormley not having the greatest of runs in the mid-pack. He's gone up a ton of spots, but that's his first major mistake. Too strong to the corner through 1 and 2. Here's going to be the major problem that I think he'll realize by the time he comes to pit. That entire right side of the truck is clapped in. That is going to decimate his progression to this pack.
And here's the deal, Jason. Ryan Gormley has been one of those drivers that, where did he come from the last couple of weeks? And he always puts himself in contention to win. Having a pretty bad luck here right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, just getting up into the wall that early on. Unfortunately, that's just pushing the truck too hard, trying to get most out of it that you can. Unfortunately, the truck's saying, nah, I don't want to do that right now. You know, you're only so early into this race, and he's got some right side damage. Like Justin said, you see that right rear quarter panel, a little bit crushed up. Definitely going to affect the way that that truck handles for sure. Can't really tell if there's any right front damage, though. And if that's the case, though, that truck is going to be a handful to drive. It's not going to want to pin down on the bottom side, right on that white line against that apron. So it's going to be interesting to see what amount of damage he has to repair when he goes to pit road, when he does take that optional repair time.
But no caution. So we hold it together here with now Dennis Moore, the leader, who kind of lucked up, if you will, to that top spot after Kevin Smith, who led about 15, 16 laps of the race, disappeared. And he is yet to return back yet. Multiple laps down in that number 00. And all the while now, Bloom the second. Here is now Eric Cheney, the Lucas Oil 76, battling alongside with Harris and Lowther, Atlanta winner Chris White. All this going on, Justin, as we go on board with Chris White.
Chris White trying to figure out where to go, try and settle things forward here, especially with the different lines being utilized in the midst of this pack. All of this is while way up the track again, tight. Dan Lowther nearly up to the wall. Frank Harris nearly following suit. That allows Chris White and Eric Cheney to build up a buffer for the back straightaway. And a major circumstance with that top line starting to come into play. A lot of drivers really burning up the right front tires, getting more tight than loose at this point.
And by the way, that was actually on board with Eric Cheney. The 76 Lucas Oil truck as the almost slams into the outside. Safer wall barrier on the front straightaway. Saves the truck on a side draft as White goes after him, Jason, in turn number 2 on lap number 30 this time by.
Yeah, Justin was just saying these trucks are getting tight, and that is the thing. When you start to lose grip here at Homestead, the only time you're really getting loose is when you're coming into the restart zone, when your tires are all worn out. But when your tires wear out here, you're going to get super, super tight. That truck is not going to want to stick on the bottom. The only time you're really going to want to run that top side is if you know that you've been able to save enough tire running that inside lane. I talk to one of my buddies, Kenny Brady, all the time. when it comes to running at these type of racetracks. And I'm always like, when should I start running the wall? He's like, save your tires, go to the inside of the racetrack, run that line where you want to save tires. Later on in the run, the guys who did run up at the top, burnt their stuff up, they're going to be running the bottom and struggling because they just can't grip that bottom side. That's when you're going to be able to attack up on that outside of the racetrack against the wall.
Closing in on 100 laps to go into this race. Obviously, lap number 67 will be the halfway mark of the event. So we're about a quarter of the way through the distance of this event so far for this 200-miler at Homestead. Justin, what's your take of the first quarter of the race so far, with, of course, the bad luck happening to Kevin Smith, but Dennis Moore capitalizing on this?
And Dennis Moore, a teammate, mind you, capitalizing on it, absolutely. But the major thing with that is just how in sync the speed between Moore and Bloom has been all night, and that leads to question. Their respective grouping on the back bumper is going to get a lot of advertising space and traffic if they get it utilized right, let's put it that way, with how much speed they've carried. 5 seconds over the field, that is a massively different truck in terms of its geometry, let alone speed, when you have that massive amount of advantage over everybody else in a field like this tonight.
Live iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. And this is coverage from Homestead-Miami. This is up top side from our camera. Aerial coverage, as always, presented by LSRTV, your home for sim racing. As O'Hare up on the outside, King up on the outside, Garber, Jason trying to get something started here on the bottom as they will come to the line and approach 100 laps to go.
Yeah, Kenneth's been doing a really good job, +7 from where he started, currently making his way up into the top 5 that last time by 35.08 for him. Everybody's lap time starting to really dissipate here, Wesley and Justin, because the best lap so far from what it looked like to me that I've seen be set so far was by Dennis Moore with a 33.17. And now these guys are over a second, almost 2 seconds now from what they originally were running when they were posting those best lap times. Dennis Moore's last time around was a 34.73. So tire wear really starting to be a factor here late in this run.
Dennis Moore still the leader. There you see again Garber, the 94 truck, Jack Daniels machine, comfortably in position. We've had one caution so far of this race. That was the accident around lap number 4 whenever Carl Burke had a problem on the front straightaway. Smacked the inside safer pit wall barrier, putting us under caution. Everyone else was able to get away. Then about 20 laps or so ago, we had a problem with Kevin Smith as the leader, timing out and disappearing in the race as leader, giving it to his teammate now. Dennis Moore, the leader. And look at this battle now going on for the top 10. You got Paulison battling Stab now. Ritter's Justin just cleared him as they go back into turn number 1.
With Toby Ritter's right now, despite significant right side damage, running inside the top 10, I think that speaks volumes on the strength of the truck setup in of itself for Ritter's and company tonight. Able to hold up clean race trucks like Stabnow and Paulison by 5 truck lengths currently. It also helps when you have Paulison and Stabnow behind the 23. Looking to really scrap hard with Stabnow having to take it to the high side. Paulison in one of the Aerokinetics trucks trying to find some type of luck in Aerokinetics. Its team, they've had bad luck in several leagues. Paulison's team has this year.
Dennis Moore, the leader. Ryan Bloom in second. Briar Reynolds is third. Stephen O'Hara fourth. Kenneth Garber top 5. Then it's going to be Tyler King in 6th. Dan West Jr. 7th. There's the truck of Toby Ritters in 8th. Jeff Stabnow behind him in 9th. Stephen Paulison 10th. But Jason, here comes Daytona winner Caden Anderson trying to stick his nose in the battle.
Yeah, Caden's +13 from where he started now. He's just shy of the top 10. Change that, make him inside the top 10 now. Passes Stephen Paulison. So Caden, no shy guy up at the front here. He is no shy person to try to make his way up into the top 10. Make that 9th now as he passes Jeff Stabnow for the 9th position. Caden, obviously, Daytona winner this season, opener at Daytona. And then last year won the season finale here. And obviously Tyler King took home the season 9 championship. But real shout out though right now is to Toby Ritters, running 8th, +3 from where he started. If there's one guy in this field who's probably put more work in the sim from last season to now, it's been this guy, Toby Ritters. Clifford, the big red dog, obviously, as you see Clifford on the side of his truck. This guy, usually running in the back, fan favorite, won Talladega last year and was so emotional after that victory, was so happy for him and his family because they're always tuning in, always giving us chats. And Toby, one of the guys to probably look out for this season. He's trying.
But again, I'm going to say this one more time. With how Toby Ritters is driven tonight, their respective entire grouping has had a rocket ship on them this evening, pace-wise. And that, I think, has paid major dividends for Ritters in particular tonight on the mile and a half. It kind of showcases, while a lot of drivers put a lot of weight into driving in a fixed race and being able to drive with a fixed setup, sometimes the fixed setups don't mesh well, or the type of setup in particular that may be utilized. With Ritters, with this team setup, it's done well, but some of the others in the pack are not doing well, like the 76.
That is Eric Chaney, the Lucas Oil Chevrolet. And he's fallen back all the way to almost 28th to the 30th position. There's Brian Barnes, by the way, the champion of last year for the Cup Series.
And Chaney had just indicated he had planned to pit previously. I think he got ran over by Troy Olson in the 49.
Could we start to see green flag pit stops, Jason? What are you thinking on lap number 43?
It's possible, Wesley. I mean, these guys are 43 laps in, and if you're seeing times fall off of over 2 seconds now, as you see the 76 really struggling to come to pit road, I mean, I would not be surprised, though, if you see some drivers. I saw Dan West Jr., he's hit the pit road now. He was a driver who was struggling, losing multiple spots there that time around. And, I mean, if there's anybody who's going to be taking big advantage of this last green flag run, it's Caden Anderson, because he's up plus 17, currently sitting in the 7th position, making his way up to the top 10 in a hurry. But, yes, I would not be surprised if you're starting to see green flag runs or green flag pit stops here coming up soon, because Dan West just opened up the door big time here in that number 55 machine.
Yeah, coming up on about 50 laps into this race run. One caution, by the way, back on lap number 4. And that was the incident that happened with Burke. Other than that, everyone else is now starting to make green flag pit stops. I got to wonder, Justin, when it's going to come in. We said Dan West Jr. came in. When will the rest of these leaders pit? Of course, in doing so, that is just going to shuffle up the entire run. Because look at the tide ride of Shane Quinn in the top 10 now.
Quinn amongst those very silently doing well, but to emphasize the strategy.
Paulson in.
You see the slide there from Walls too. Yeah, but Paulson and company coming to around an estimated window, and we have a crash. The 6 car round into the wall. Dylan Huffines.
Huffines spinning, entering pit road. Here comes the 51 now, also coming down to the pit lane of Troy Daggett.
Yeah, did I mention this is not as...
That was Greg Grunwald, by the way, that came to the pits. My apologies on that. Hey, Justin.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is not quite as simple as a pit lane as it may look, because remember, you don't have to use the access road here at this racetrack, but it still is a spot where you can loop it around if you carry too much speed, and we've seen that several different times already.
Other Bryce Clark in, Duvall is in. So is Jeff Stabnow, Robert Campbell. All of these drivers coming down the pit lane for service here. Here comes Aaron Cooper peeling in. Green flag pit stops underway before they approach the end. Jason, you got to remember to be on the binders before you hit to that yellow cone, or you get busted with a speed.
Yeah, it's really, really tricky to get onto this pit road. I mean, most tracks like this are, but this track, it's so wide. Everybody's running different lanes from the middle to the bottom to the top. It's a multi-groove racetrack. And when you're, running a lane that you're not really very familiar with and you're trying to get down at an angle, it is super hard to do that, especially with the tire wear and how much this abrasive surface at the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway eats up these tires, it's for sure going to be tricky. I would not be surprised if we see any more trouble heading onto pit road like we did see for the number 6 machine just a few more ago for Dylan Huffines.
Pit stops ongoing here as these drivers work their way again. It's only, well, we'll see. I haven't seen the leaders peel in just yet, Justin. What do you think? We'll see some more.
Actually, a little surprised to see some of the drivers. Yeah, right now, at this point, I think in respect to this, Kevin Smith, I don't blame him in terms of not returning to the track after losing several laps. I think it's more so just trying to help out the rest of the team, keep it on the rest of the race, try and see what everyone else can improve on. Tough break for Shane Quinn, though. He has missed his pit marks and is still struggling to get into the pit stall with a 700 in the pit lane.
That was, of course, Shane Quinn. Now, look at this now, battle. Here comes Breitzman, Audenbacher. Daggett's changed the colors on his truck there. He's in that pack. White's on the pit lane. Garber is in, Jason. All this is happening here after lap 50.
Yeah, everybody's pitting at all these different lap times. I want to say the first guy to pit, Dan West Jr., who opened up that door.
Caution.
Oh, wow.
Caution on the speedway. And I think it's on the front stretch. Not sure who it is. It's Ron Hunter in the 30 truck who spun. And after trying to pit from the top of the racetrack in front of BJ Duval here, Leslie.
Caution out for the second time involving Ron Hunter. Let's see what happened here as we are approaching halfway in about another 15 laps or so. We'll see what happens 30. Yeah, there he is right there.
I can tell you, though, with the line that Hunter was taking for the pit stop, you do not want to pit from the outside line, let alone the middle of the racetrack. And from what I can see on the end here, it was a pit stop from the middle of the racetrack with a driver right already on the bumper and Duval. Duval's lucky to not be damaged here. To say the very least, Jason, you do not want to pit from the middle of the track. And he's out of fuel. Ron Hunter's out of gas now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to pit from the middle of the racetrack. I mean, especially when you're all the way up high. We just talked about it earlier. It's so hard to get onto this pit road at such a high rate of speed, especially when your tires are super, emphasize that probably 6 more times, super worn out. But you see a lot of drivers on pit road. Ryan Bloom is obviously on pit road now. I know Brian Barnes, Carl Burke, those drivers, I believe, were also 1 lap down. But this is, oh my goodness, we have 1 truck in the grass. That's the number 72 machine. Oh my goodness, I wonder what happened there.
Better yet, why was he down there? That is, you don't have to take the access road.
Oh man. And my question is this, Justin, back to Ron Hunter. Do you think that he overshot entering the pit lane and that's what caused the truck to spin out?
I'm going to repeat this again. He pit in front of another truck. When you have a pit stop without a communication on the radio, let alone pit from the line that I seen there, you're not going to check up in time, Wesley. And the shocking thing to me is Tidrick is the one getting the EOL here, yet it was Hunter pitting from the middle of the racetrack.
And we've got an update of something that happened earlier in the race with Kevin Smith. Charles Wooten, our producer / man running in the pits. What have you got for us on the 00, bud?
Well, I talked to him, and it wasn't a fun conversation. He was clearly upset, but we did find that his son was actually on the internet using playing a Fortnite server, and that is what kicked him off. Did a reset, and it did something to the internet and got him as well.
Wow. That explains it.
Thanks, son.
I never would have thought that a Fortnite server would have made him disconnect from an iRacing server.
I mean,
Oh my
it can
goodness.
happen. Wait, did I just hear that right, Charles? So, his son reset the internet for his Fortnite,
And it
not
disconnected
realizing
him from everything.
And his dad that was
Wow.
already on the internet. Here's the thing, if two people are on the internet, it works where you're splitting the speeds in half, basically, between the two devices. They do realize that was the reason of the slower internet for the respective side, right? You didn't have to reset it.
I have no comment. Brian Bloom is now the new leader. Sean Brightsman second. All these drivers going to get one more lap under caution before we settle in for a restart. Approaching halfway here in about another 10 laps or so. So there's Brian Bloom, obviously good, strong, solid run. But Jason, we've seen that for the 25.
Yeah, we have seen that. It's been a tough start to the year for him from what I can recollect. And Sean Brightsman's up here as well. I believe he had some right side damage. I think he slapped the wall earlier on in this race. But you're seeing a lot of drivers up at the front who weren't really up at the front at the start of this race. John Ottenbacher, plus 27, he's sitting for it. BJ Tidrick in the 72 machine, sitting fifth, plus 34. Sean Brightsman, like I said. Ryan Bloom only 2 spots from where he started, but also Roy Grande Jr., 13 spots. He's sitting ninth. And Caden Anderson, top 10, guys. I'm telling you, he's going to be the one to look out for late in this race. I think Caden's got a really, really fast machine here tonight.
Failed to make their way back to the Geico restart zone. Will settle in for a restart on lap number 57 with 10 laps left. Through the gearboxes goes the 25. That's Ryan Bloom. He'll pull away from Brightsman. Daggett, Ottenbacher, Justin, as we're back on one.
Great restart for Bloom. Brightsman really drifting up the racetrack. Keep in mind, several of the drivers on older tires going to have some troubles from the get-go. Dennis Moore, Dan West Jr., 6th and 7th, already under attacking, and he's swarmed in the midst of battles as well.
All this happening now as they work their way. Jason, turn number 3 and 4. Daggett now, the 99, new wrap job on that truck. One of the dual winners at Daytona for both the trucks and Xfinity. Starting to climb through the field as Jaden Ledbetter's off the pace.
Yeah, so many guys are off the pace. They're heading out of turn number 4. You see just a massive amount of trucks sliding back. Don't know if some guys hit the wall or what, but right there off the corner, they were about 3-4 wide right there. Huge gaggle of trucks off turn number 4. And look at Dan West Jr. That plays in his benefactor. Here he comes. He's just shy of the top 5 right now. Running in 6th with Dennis Moore trying to make his way back up towards the front of the field, sitting just in 5th spot right now.
Cut upon 6 laps, 7 laps at the halfway flag here. And right now, all the while, it is still the man, Ryan Bloom, leading. Look at Dan West Jr. Now getting company inside Stephen O'Hare. This is for 6th and 7th going on to the backstretch.
West Jr. amongst some of the oldest tires of the racetrack, trying to make him work to hold off O'Hare, however, able to utilize the middle line. Getting tight on corner exit, though. O'Hare gets the run. They're trying to build up the speed, can't close out fully, has to stay in line. Anderson, though, in the red and yellow truck, dives it hard into 1, gets within 3 truck lengths of the fight.
All of this transpiring now as that battle works onto the back straightaway. Dan West Jr. up on the outside. O'Hare will follow behind him. And Jason Caden Anderson, Daytona winner, now climbing into the top 10.
Yeah, Anderson has really been super, super fast, plus 16 from where he started tonight, just sitting outside the top 5. He's sitting in 8th right now. Wouldn't be surprised if he can get O'Hare and West Jr. side by side like they are right now. This is going to open up the door for Anderson to try to pick off West Jr. here as they head off turn number 2. Here comes Caden Anderson. He's got the run on the 55. What will he do with it? He'll head down to the inside of the racetrack here into turn number 3, trying to make the pass here as he heads in the middle of 3 and 4.
Anderson on the inside, below that white line on the outside. Here comes Dan West Jr. Couple of those drivers from Shelton, Washington, and Yakima. This goes on the student halfway, Justin, in turn number 1.
Most of the drivers back to the bottom like we've seen earlier before, but now for these drivers in this fight, a hornet's nest to deal with. O'Hare and Anderson having to deal with all the lap trucks since they were amongst the many who had to take a waiver out of the time of the caution flag. Trouble in front of them. Dennis Moore, the 44 door from the left side. Here comes the run for O'Hare on Moore.
All of this going on as they work their way back off into the corner into turn number 1 and 2. The battle now. O'Hare comes down the 44. Dennis Moore to the outside. Comes the 20. These are lap trucks in front of the leaders.
Still side by side to work with the midst of the traffic. O'Hare able to zip by Chris Kynes, the first of those. Dennis Moore back to the bottom side. Bit of a breather for the time being. Tough part for Anderson. Anderson now having to find a way to close back up the gap. Anderson losing ground. He's been stronger long run all night long. All this as well, the drivers work the way through 3 and 4. Jason looking to settle things forward. Another scrape to the outside wall. That was Frank Harris, the 11.
Yeah, Frank Harris, unfortunate for him after having such a good qualifying run. Currently 26th right now. Again, I believe he was one of those trucks who was caught a lap down, and here they go. They're scrambling all over the front straightaway as they battle it down into turn number 1. Brian Barnes, you see him work at the inside of the racetrack. Here comes the 41 of Stephen O'Hare trying to make some work. Oh, there he goes into the wall. Crashed.
No caution, we stay green. O'Hare getting looped around the backstretch. Frank Harris with the contact. And Stephen O'Hare significantly off the tempo as a result of that slam from 5th position.
That's really unfortunate for him, Justin, because Stephen O'Hare, one of these drivers who was so strong here last year, and here he comes into this race having a strong march towards the front of the field. I believe right there, though, Justin, he might have just cleared himself on Frank Harris. Maybe Frank got loose, not too sure what happened, but there is significant damage to that number 41 machine right up on the front bumper of his race truck here as he heads off too.
And we are approaching halfway. It'll be this time by when they come to the line, Justin. It's going to be lap number 67 completed, 67 to go. And Ryan Bloom is still the man that's leading. But look at this heated battle going on. Atlanta winner Dan Lowther, Robert Gamble. Here comes now Aaron Cooper. What a battle going to turn 1.
Now Hornets Nest of drivers battling on the outside. Dan Lowther. Grunwald able to slide in front of Lowther, hold on to the spot. Cooper looks to run. Battle for 15 to the backstretch. Toyota machine up 51. Charges harder. Lowther, first straight group, and Cooper loses ground on the top side through 3 and 4 in the Prince car.
And Jason, while all of this is transpiring, Ryan Bloom is continuing to open up that distance from Sean Brightsman. It is now close to 2 seconds as we are all getting ready to come in and join you in our broadcast booth for coverage of our LSRTV mid-race report here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Wesley Outland, Justin Prince, Jason Rockefeller as well. And Justin, I gotta ask you, first half of this race, so far, a couple of cautions, but a very clean race for the most part. When do you think the intensity is going to pick up here at Homestead?
I mean, some of the intensity is already picked up, I will say, Wesley, especially in the midst of the heart of the pack because of some of the lap trucks in the middle of that grouping for the wave rounds with the timing of that last caution. But right now, the major critical mark I'm noticing, some of the drivers on the off-cycle strategies like Moore, how to fight very hard. Dad West Jr. having to fight for his track position as hard as he can, while having to deal with tires as old as 10 laps older than the rest of the field. Some of the drivers cannot afford to really let up some of the intensity if they want to be in position for the when the pit stop window opens to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, Lowther just put a truck in the fence just a moment ago and somehow kept it away was Dylan Huffines. Jason, I check in with you. I know we can't see you, but we can hear you. What's your thoughts of the first half of this race as we go back to on-track action? And that has been your LSRTV mid-race report. What are you thinking so far here in this event, my friend?
I've really enjoyed the race so far. You've seen a lot of guys just using the multi-grooves that this racetrack provides, and that's the great thing. And like Justin said earlier on, that this track was going to be loose, and sure as heck has been really loose tonight. You've seen a lot of guys loose off turns 2 and off turns 4, like I thought that they were going to be afterwards, and that's how it's been. And then the tires, it wears down so much. But shout out to these guys. They've been doing a great job. I definitely think, though, that Ryan Bloom is probably absolutely, not even probably, the truck to beat here tonight. I mean, Sean Brightsman definitely fighting his way up into second plus 15 from where he started with a damaged race truck. Dennis Moore, though, it's going to be a matter of time before he probably gets up to the front. If there's another yellow, maybe he could try to leapfrog Ryan Bloom in the pits when the next green flag pit stop comes. But so far, it's been a great race. Really enjoyed all the action all over here provided by Cody, our camera guy. Been doing a great job pushing all the buttons here tonight. But so far, so good. Expecting this race to be a really, really, really good one here towards the end.
And with that, along with the analysis with our partner, Jason Rockefeller, that has been your LSRTV mid-race report update. And again, right now, it has been Ryan Bloom simply dominating this since what happened to Kevin Smith and then Dennis Moore going up in front. There was a caution with the yellow flag on Ron Hunter. And since then, JP, Ryan Bloom has just took everybody to the woodshed. He opens up that lead on Sean Brightsman to now almost 3.5 seconds. As now we watch White and Daggett continue to go at it. This is going on in the top 5.
Well, the important thing when it comes to Chris White is he's a lap driver. Troy Daggett is on the lead lap. So that's frustrating as a driver if you're having to deal with lap traffic. But more critically, in some of the battles going on in the midst of that, Ryan E. Gormley, the points leader, has had a horrific night because he ended up pitting early, falling off cycle. He is still a lap down in this race with the damage, has not taken the fast repair yet. Essentially, if you are Ryan Gormley, you are in, well, panic mode. And you can't afford to be in panic mode if you want to run well here. And the thing is, he has not been running well after about 15, 20 laps. It's not a good night for the points leader, let's put it that way, after being very consistent to start off the season. One of a couple drivers to be in the top 5 in both the races. In fact, the only one from Daytona Atlanta.
That's right. And to elaborate more on that, Jason, because you were in the booth with us for those events, he really done well for the super speedway races, if you count Atlanta being a super speedway because of the repave. But now, as you said when we came on the air, everybody's strengths and weaknesses are going to be unveiled now on these intermediate tracks, and you can see the points leader is struggling because of that in 22.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Wesley, don't be surprised if that's how his season could be. I mean, yes, it's only, give or take, it's only one intermediate style racetrack here tonight. Obviously, also, this is a very abrasive surface. This isn't your usual intermediate style racetrack. Multi-groove, tires wear out super quick, like a cheese grater to these tires. And he's been in the wall multiple times here tonight as he continues to rip that outside wall, battling with the number 12 below him. But I mean, that's just how it's going to be for this season. I mean, and there's one driver too who I'm very surprised who's not up inside the top 5. It's either he doesn't have a very good truck, or everybody just got better over the offseason at these intermediate style tracks. And that's Tyler King, last year's champion. Ran a very good race here last year, and obviously, not to mention the fact too, like I just said, the 2022 season 9 champion. He's currently sitting 19th right now. That's very unfortunate for him. But so far, all these drivers, they're doing a really good job in it clean. But like I said earlier in the pre-race, this was going to be the race to see what people's weaknesses are.
Yeah, no doubt about it, as we're approaching that lap number 80 coming up here in a couple of more laps. And now we see Tidrick. By the way, he's on the lead lap. Walls is on the lead lap. Ritter's on the lead lap. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th coming down to the start-finish line. Oh, and of course, Audenbacher is in their midst. Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow in the top 12, if you will. All these drivers still being consistent here, and I think we got trouble there, Justin.
Yeah, Wall saying go to Tendrick. 2 shots to the back bumper to 1 and 2 there.
Wow,
one more slip down behind them going out for Clifford. 22 able to hold on to it. Toby Ritter's in the midst of all that as well. But already, Mark Wall saying, you need to go. You need to pick up the tempo. He's charged up 18 spots tonight. It's one of the windiest drivers in Northwest racing history from its early days in particular, and now looks to try and find a way around the traffic.
Close it in on 55 laps to go on lap number 80. And look at this battle now. Going on through lap traffic, mid-pack. Onenbacher, Tendrick, they're getting impatient with that lap truck in the way. And there goes Walls now, Jason, sticking his nose in the battle. Those 3 trucks battle off 4.
Yeah, Justin was just mentioning, too, that Mark Walls was saying go, go, go. You know, I mean, if I were him, you know, I'd be really frustrated with BJ Tendrick as well. I mean, he's been going in every corner on his back bumper, and BJ just will not let him go at all. I mean, heading into turns 1 and turns 3, he's just running the same line. Look at Mark. He's almost right there. He's about half a truck length back from BJ. But look at BJ. He's going to start to cut him off here in the corner. Man, if I were Mark Walls right now, I'd be fuming inside that virtual Ford F-150 right now.
Justin, could a bump and run be coming?
At Homestead-Miami Speedway, not likely. But at this mark, when it comes to Mark Walls, you have to be thinking, man, oh man, can I get myself some track position? The reason I say that with Walls, the last time Walls won a race, mind you, 2019. That's all the way back in November from that season's Truck Series campaign, Season 6. Walls is having a stellar night, though, despite being a long time away from the victory lane mark. With how he's been driving in this race, remember, second at Atlanta Motor Speedway, he's come second so many times in his previous starts. In fact, he finished second back in 2020 prior to his hiatus.
Ryan Bloom still the man out in front. You see on the scoring telemetry now almost 6 seconds and growing on Brightsman. Justin, Jason, do they pit? Do we see a late race pit stop, or can they go to the finish?
No, they definitely cannot go to the finish for sure, Wesley. I mean, these guys last pitted around lap 50 to 55, some earlier, some later. So I'm expecting they're probably going to start pitting. You're going to see guys start pitting around lap 95 to 100. That's really when the window's going to be. And I tell you what, Caden Anderson, he's been pretty much lights out here tonight, been really gaining. But now that the tires have kind of equalized and everybody's really showing their weakness with the tires and how much they use them up, Caden's kind of maintained 8 seconds back right now between him and Ryan Bloom. So if I were Caden, probably try to take the undercut on Ryan Bloom. You know you're fast, especially on fresh tires. So it's going to be interesting. As you see the 72 almost right there taken out by the 48, avoiding a lap truck. Man, Mark Walls has been working that 72's back bumper for a handful of laps now. That was close.
And that's the lap truck of the points leader, Ryan Gormley, up on the outside. And I want to check time and scoring here as right now these 4 trucks battle off the corner. Here's the deal.
Oh, they crash down the back, down the front straightaway. Caution is out as O'Hare and Company slam. It's the big one down the front stretch. Stabnow's in it.
Wow.
Several more drive on through. And wow, oh wow.
Wow.
That's what happens when fresh tires come on the outside and you have older tires sliding up, getting tight on corner exit.
And maybe not only that, JP, also when you got lap traffic fighting up with fast traffic, trying to get impatient and move around one another. Here's a look on the replay. Mark Walls gives the bumper, tries to reel in Tendrick. Gormley slips out of 4. There's contact made. O'Hare in the fence. So is Gormley spinning across the track. That's the points leader. Jeff Stabnow, nowhere to go. He gets piled in. So does Onenbacher. And the caution is out for the 3rd time.
Wow.
Wow.
I will say this, I think Toby Ritter's got absolutely lucky with how he positioned himself through the needle. But a few drivers going to have to drop to the back for the damage. That is absolutely tough break for some. I will say this, thank goodness for the fast repair for some of these drivers. Not so thank goodness if you're a Ryan Bloom fan, because that evaporates a 6-second lead, and his teammate Dennis Moore is now back in the conversation.
And everybody, and I mean everybody, Jason, is getting ready to come down to the pit lane. This could be the money stop right now.
Oh yeah, this is the money stop for sure. Definitely 4 tires and fuel, maybe some adjustments here. We're going to have to find out. You see your leader, Ryan Bloom, slowly into his box. That was definitely a slower entry than what most guys did. Dennis Moore flew into the pits. We're going to have to see here who comes out ahead. It's going to be interesting to see, though. They're getting ready. 4 tires going on top or on these trucks here, and Ryan Bloom's off and away. He might get beaten out. No, he doesn't. Right at the line, beats Sean Brightsman. Dennis Moore there third. So Ryan Bloom will be your race leader here off pit road, followed by Sean Brightsman, Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson, and last year's champion, like I was talking about with his poor night. Here he is, top 5, Tyler King in the number 21.
After pit stops, Brian Reynolds 6, Troy Daggett 7th, Mark Walls 8, Toby Ritters and John Odenbacher the top 10. We'll be right back. We're back with more coverage in a moment. This is the Northwest Truck Series, presented by CLICKIT RV, Homestead-Miami Speedway, iRacing on LSRTV, and the Community Radio Network.
At CLICKIT RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe.
From Homestead-Miami. Justin Prince, Jason Rockefeller, I'm Wesley Outland, and we'll try this again here. Ryan Bloom on the front row along with Sean Brightsman. Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson on row 2. Brian Reynolds as the field to get ready to make their way back to the Geico restart zone, this time by closing in on over 40 laps to go. And lap number 91 will go up on the scoreboard pylon when they take the restart. Watch that ticker up on the top for your favorite driver. And you got to think, Justin, it's go time here now at Homestead. Everybody just pitted, money stop done. The run to the checker is now on the restart.
Everyone can make it to the end on gas from here as Dennis Moore wraps the bottom, moves up the second. Brightsman dealing with right side damage, did not get it fixed during the pit stop. Now feeling the pressure and the damage from set. Scrape on the side. Anderson side by side into 3, looking to clear.
All of this transpiring as they work their way back off of the 4th turn. Walls now clears by Daggett and Reynolds. This now puts him in the number 5 spot, Jason, as they go off into turn 1.
Yeah, Mark Walls trying to get back towards the front after having such a tough battle earlier with the Miller High Life machines. You see Brightsman super loose there off turn number 2. That's going to let Walls have the opportunity to attack. He's going to go to the inside of the racetrack, heading into turn number 3, go from middle to bottom, and he's going to have Briar Reynolds and company behind him, trying to follow him as they work their way off turn 4, but keep an eye out as they're 3 wide behind them. Caden Anderson is up into the top 3.
Closing in on triple digits in lap 100 and the 34 laps to the checkered flag. It's Ryan Bloom, Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson. Behind them, the top 3, it's Walsh, Brightsman, Reynolds, and that's going on to the back straightaway.
Trying to build up the run on the side draft. Reynolds pulls back the 46, and Brightsman continuing to find out why he should have taken a faster pair during the caution flag. That damage really slowing him down. Toby Ritters in the 23 also did not fix his truck. He is also losing lots of spots off the restart.
Watching them now, single file, working their way off of turn number 2. Sun also setting here at Homestead. Aaron Cooper now making a run on Ritters. This battle goes on for 7th and 8th as they work into turn number 3.
Three and 4 still trying to sort together. Looking at Clifford as he tries to play the lines. The major thing I think you can say, Jason, if you get side damage on these trucks, they're very sensitive. You lose a lot of time. Speaking of time lost, Caden Anderson has nearly lost it from 3rd with the help of Waltz's contact.
That's huge for Caden Anderson, the fastest driver here tonight. And there might be some damage there on the right side of that racetrack. We'll have to see as he comes down the front straightaway off turn number 4. Not too sure, though, if there is damage to that number 37 Silverado. But yes, Justin, to answer your question, you get some side damage on that truck, it's going to hurt a ton. The right rear, not as much. It might just jack up your spoiler a little bit, cause a little bit more drag. But if you damage that right front fender, it's going to kill, absolutely kill, emphasize 3 more times, your truck for sure. You do not want right front damage here tonight because it's going to absolutely kill that truck for center and exit speed.
And somehow, some way, saving that truck right now as they work their way back to start finish. And Justin, you're going to elaborate more on what Jason said, buddy. Go ahead.
I was going to argue too. In my opinion, it's even worse than getting front end damage because of that speed differential on corner and exit speed. That absolutely destroys your entire race. Some of these drivers, though, in the midst of battles like Dan West Jr., looking to battle still with lap traffic. Chris White, despite being in 19th, he wants to try and get the lap back the old-fashioned way. On the bottom side, he is in the lucky dog spot, trying to pull forward from everybody else.
Roaring, snarling, growling into turn 1. White on the inside of West. Behind him, Paulison. Huffines, that is right now 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th on track. 55 under attack. Here comes a big burst of momentum by White, the former Cup Series champion of the Northwest. And throwing the block on the bottom, Aaron Cooper in the Prince 71 machine, Jason, off turn 4.
Yeah, Aaron was super strong at Daytona. Probably could have won that if it wasn't for some, no offense to him, but some bonehead moves. And here he is right now running inside the top 10, currently running in 9th. As you see Dan West Jr. head up to the outside lane. Only truck to do that besides Stephen Paulson, who's trying to pass another truck behind him. That's the 47 of Chris White. As you see the 71 try to make a run right now on Toby Ritters. But Dan West Jr., man, oh man, that truck looks to be on rails right now as Clifford slides up the track here off turn number 4.
And they come to the line, triple digits on the scoreboard now. 100 down, 134 laps to go in this 200-mile contest now. And all the while, we saw Dan West Jr. up on the outside, clear by Cooper, went to the inside, now clears by Ritters on the back straightaway, and goes right back to the top of the safer barrier, Justin, in 3.
Cooper to the bottom, trying to find a way around Ritters. Ritters already communicating with Cooper. Try and stay away from me. Apparently having contact at Daytona. Some thoughts coming over from there. Cooper looking to try and wrap the bottom into 1. Ritter's all the way up above the second seam, trying to get the power down, gets the run to be able to keep in front.
Let's give you your top 10 now with 30 laps to go. We're coming up on 30 laps to go. We're over 100 laps into this deal. Ryan Bloom, the leader. Dennis Moore, second. White now being passed by Cooper. Paulison trying to play wingman with him. And again, Brian Reynolds is fourth. Caden Anderson, fifth. Sean Brightsman, Troy Daggett, Dan West Jr., Toby Ritters, and Aaron Cooper is your top 10. That's the way it stands right now as they approach lap number 102. Ryan Bloom is the leader. Look at these snarling trucks roar off the second turn. When do you break out of line? When is it pucker time, Justin, to make a run for checkmate to get that first win at the payout window?
Well, I think the checkmate time is going to be dependent on if there's a late race caution or not, because that's going to be a major factor. If there's a late race caution, could it go to anybody? Mark Wallace, I think, is ready to be able to charge as hard as he can into a back bumper if he has to. But if it stays green coming to 30 laps to go like it is, Bloom and Moore, I wouldn't be surprised try and scrap it out themselves. And at this point, 2/10 a lap quicker than most of the field, they are in the conversation for putting themselves as the only two that might be able to do so on mid-run speed in of itself.
That's JP Staltz. JR, what you thinking?
Well, I definitely think that probably the checkmate time of the race is probably going to be about 15 laps to go. But to touch on Justin's point of view, if there is a late race yellow, you're going to see probably some of these guys pit, and you're going to see some guys maybe stay out. But I think if you stay out, you absolutely ruin your chances. We've seen how much fresh tires plays a benefactor here tonight. You are 2 seconds, and sometimes even over, depending on the run, faster than somebody who is on older tires when you are on the fresh set. But right now, if I had two guys who are probably the ones to look out for tonight, Ryan Bloom and Dennis Moore, man, they're about 3 to 4 tenths. They keep on going back and forth, so going to be interesting to find out.
Hold on, guys. We've had Tyler King crash on the front stretch, but no caution. He's blown the motor. We stay green.
Wow.
And I think he's got a technical issue because he turned a hard left into the wall. Either that or, well, let's take a look.
Here's a replay. The Beaver State Racing Entry champion of last year for the trucks, the 21. Justin, you saw it break loose, and again, no yellow flag, though. We stay green with 30 to go.
It definitely tells you it doesn't look intentional. Actually. Watch the motion, because he gets loose, then it's like he just has the wheel desync enough to where he can't control the wheel, slams left. The onboard, I think, is the better telling sign in regards to that. But a caution in real life, in the sim now with the green flag. We'll have to take that version as Brian Barnes and Frank Harris have tangled.
Frank Harris and Brian Barnes, defending Cup champion, ironically, as Quinn overshoots his pit stall. Caution out for the defending Cup Series Northwest champion, Brian Barnes. And of course, again, problems for the truck champion of last year, Tyler King. And now, Justin, we'll see what happened to the popsicle number 4 Chevrolet to put us under caution number 4.
Yeah, you see, just tries to pit it last minute, not even close. I don't even know if that was the trigger, or even the 700 was the trigger. The reason I mentioned Frank Harris, he stopped on the backstretch on the pavement on the apron, and I wonder if that was enough as the trigger, which leads again to the question, how was it King that triggered? In other words, there are 3 different possible reasons for the caution, and it always not good if you're now the race leaders, because look at this, Moore had a better entry.
And I know I said, Jason, that the money stop was a moment ago, but I also said in the air when we came on, if you get a late race caution, probably everybody's coming in. Everybody is coming down to pit lane to make that a fruition.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see here. The 44 definitely had a better entry like Justin was talking about. You could see those left sides going on super quick. That 44 is off and away, and the 25 is going to lose not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to lose a lot of spots here coming out of pit road. Ryan Bloom just went from top of the leaderboard all the way to 9th. That could have been a race winning truck's hopes go up in a ball of flame there on pit road, and Dennis Moore is your leader now.
Dennis Moore again coming onto the pits. Was Ryan Bloom first. He's going to end up away in the back of the top 10. Dennis Moore will now come out as the leader. Brian Reynolds in second. Up 21 spots is Caden Anderson to third. Up 23 spots, Mark Walsh fourth. Up 12 spots in fifth is Sean Breitzman. Dan West Jr., Toby Ritters, Troy Daggett, Ryan Bloom, Aaron Cooper up 5 to be the top 10 as we settle in for under 25 laps to go here now, Justin Prince.
Yeah, and I think in case the blue might have been even over the pit sign by about a couple inches, and that's enough where if you don't realize you're not taking service, you're losing time. And in this case, there might not be enough time to pass by 8 trucks to move to the front. It took Dennis Moore about 20 laps to get himself into position to be in the top 3 before the caution started flying again. So at this mark, I think it's Dennis Moore's race to lose with how the truck has been throughout this entire night. Even when you factor in Caden Anderson's speed, I don't think Anderson's got the short run.
Yeah. I got a couple of things I want to do. First off, let's take a look at the 811 call before you dig. Virginia caution summary on the bottom left. So far in this race, 4 cautions, 14 caution laps of the 110 that have been ran so far. 3 lead changes. Obviously, that big first one is when Kevin Smith was leading the opening 15, 20 laps and then had an issue and timed out and left for the race. He did not return. Again, that is your Virginia 811. Call before you dig. Dig with care. Caution summary. And again, Virginia 811. Call before you dig. 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Saturday night in April at Martinsville Speedway. I also want to go and look at now, Justin, the Kaufman creative weather conditions from the start of this race to where we are now. And you can see that it has dramatically dropped in track temperature.
Yeah, much more grippier at this point. The air temperature hasn't really changed, but I think in regards to how cool it is, that means the speed's going to go up. Going to be where you can have more grip to be able to hold on to the track, and also with the amount of rubber buildup on the racetrack, going to make it where you can carry a little bit more speed and pick up a little more tempo. But the major thing to consider is, if you haven't felt that comfortability by now, it's going to be very difficult to find it right now. Let's put it that way. You better hope you've made the right adjustments, because there were only 3 tire sets in the pits tonight. Just about everybody has now used them except for those who just took a wave around.
Track temp started at 109 degrees, now down to 79 with the air temp at 78, presented by Kaufman Creative, as Justin alluded to. The field will come to the line, coming in to under 25 to go. Green flag back in the air as they roar past the Geico restart zone, selling off into turn number 1 and 2. Dennis Moore back up in front after the misfortunes for his teammate Kevin Smith in the beginning. Then he fell back, Jason, and now Dennis Moore taking advantage of the pit stop to go back out in front. But here comes Sean Breitzman on the bottom as well.
Yeah, Sean Breitzman right now, he's just trying to make up some track position. Definitely maybe not really a race-winning truck. Did you see one truck sideways? Troy Daggett, what a save by him. That's going to open up the door for Toby Ritters, Aaron Cooper, and also the 58 of Stephen Paulson. Man, oh man, that could have been a big one off the corner. But here comes Mark Walls, though. He just moved into second place, trying to run down Dennis Moore. It's a battle between Anderson and Walls for second right now at the front of the field.
That almost wadded up those trucks. Somehow they saved it as Daggett goes up topside. And Justin, Mr. Ryan Bloom took advantage of that misfortune by Daggett, but now he's in 7th, as now Walls and Anderson are battling for the lead to run down Moore into 1.
Lots of various battles forming up, lots of time starting to tick away, though. Now it's the matter of the top line. How is it going to play out? Munsto's running that top line, trying to find things on the slice and dice. Daggett for the 9th spot. Cooper plays the defense, holds on to it for the time being. But the battle's on through 3 and 4. It's for second. Anderson last time got moved by walls in the fight amongst them. Now they're side by side down the front of the 37 and 48.
For Charles Wooten, there's action everywhere. Now there's, look at this inside, going to turn one. Dennis Moore. Dennis Moore, Mark Walls, all these drivers going at it. Look at this now. Mark Walls clears by Anderson. Officially now. Put him to second. Dennis Moore, though, under attack, and here comes the 48. You know, Jason, we thought Walls was going to be a contender to win at Daytona. He should have been a winner at Atlanta until that crazy misfortunes happened. And it seems like it's deja vu for the 48, though, settling himself up to come back to the lead, the all-time winner of the Northwest after a 3-year drought, trying to now go right back to victory lane 3 races later.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Walls has been so strong these last 2 races. He's going for the race lead, but I tell you what, I keep my eye on Dan West Jr. That last time by, he was running really strong, and actually, never mind, now he's really dropping back. Wonder if he got loose there going through the corner. He posted the fastest lap of the race with a 32.96 just a couple of laps ago. But Mark Walls and Caden Anderson, though, they're continuing their march to Dennis Moore's back bumper, and it's only a matter of time before they get there, because I believe personally that Anderson and Walls are both faster than Dennis Moore, but only time's going to tell. At this time by, they're going to hit 17 laps to go.
The fastest times of the race so far has been 32.06, and that has, of course, been set by Dennis Moore. Now, the last couple of laps, the times unison are with Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson, and now Briar Reynolds, and you said Dan West Jr. All of this going on with under 20 to go. Justin to the back straight away.
And West Jr. gets passed by Ryan Bloom entering turn 3. West Jr. lost that time because he had scraped the wall in turn 3 a couple laps ago, but avoided the damage. Breitzman really loose, nearly snapped to the wall. Breitzman keeps it off the fence. Here comes Ryan Bloom, meanwhile, for 4 from Briar Reynolds into 1.
We're ready to bring this one to the finish. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification and bring you the checkered flag from Homestead. Don't go anywhere. The Northwest Truck Series. iRacing on LSRTV and CRN with 15 to go from Homestead. The finish next.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Posting some of the fastest laps of the race with 15 laps to go is Ryan Bloom. Jason, you got a report on the 25.
Yeah, that last time around, Ryan Bloom was only 200th slower than Dan West Jr.'s fastest lap time, which was a 32.96. Ryan Bloom is driving so aggressively right now. You can see him right now beating on the back bumper of the tailgate of the 37 of Caden Anderson. He's going to look down to the inside of the racetrack. Anderson's going to block the 25. He's going to be right above that bottom seam now. Tries to roll the center, closing in on the 37. I just don't know, though, if it's going to be enough time, because time's ticking out here for the 25 of Ryan Bloom. This time by 13 laps to go at the line.
Justin, you got to think this also. Ryan Bloom, teammates with Dennis Moore. Will they work together, and then when will it be every driver for themselves as he makes a move on Anderson for 3rd at the line?
Side by side to the inside. Now Anderson hard on the send to try and defend. But in regards to that, the caution flag is out. Now the true example of that is about to come out. It's a crash in 1 and 2. Toby Ritters has spun around with the help of Troy Daggett.
99, Troy Daggett. 23, Toby Ritters off of turn 2. Caution is out. And we go now about a half a lap ahead before all this transpires, as the yellow flag will fly for the 5th time. 13, make it 12 laps to go when they come to the line. And watch this. 23 and 99 going at it. Daggett hits the left rear. He goes in the fence. Then he puts Ritters up in the wall. And then there's another truck that got bounced off. had a glazing blow, if you will, Justin, but was able to continue.
I think it's more so Ritter's wasn't clear there on the dive down, go from the top to the bottom there, was still a bit side by side, maybe thought he was going to be fully clear. But in regards to that, who picked up the secondary blow there, it seems, I believe that was Paul Newton who picked up a significant chunk of contact. Here is the problem with the time of this caution flag. This actually benefits those who lost a lap earlier, because here's the thing, they'll have 15 lap pressure tires. There might be a chance that the drivers who are deep in this field could be the ones that could steal the win here.
Wow. So are you saying that if you are up in the front, you're kind of a sitting duck?
It's a yes and no. You have the track position advantage, at least a few seconds on them. But it's still a 10-15 lap difference on tires here. That's the massive thing here. And Jason, if some of the drivers towards there play it right, especially I think Jeff Stabnow, we're talking about a potential steal with a victory here if there's enough time.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Jeff Stabnow was able to take that fast repair and he doesn't have any more damage since that wreck that he was involved in on the front straightaway when the quote-unquote big one happened, Jeff Stabnow, Dan Lowther, Chris White, those could be guys who could charge their way up through this field. Justin, you talk about 10 to 15 lap older tires up at the front of the field. I am shocked that some of those guys up at the front of the field did not pit, because we've seen how much, and I'm going to stress it again, how much tires, fresh tires, have played a huge factor here tonight, Wesley.
Yeah, and I want to step in before that, Mark Wesley, to mention here, remember, there's 3 tire sets in the pits, guys. That means the drivers who made their final stops, supposedly at 23 laps to go into the caution, used the 3rd set there. The drivers who lost a lap still had only used 2 sets. That's the major difference here.
Charles Wooten has an update on Mark Walls, the man in 2nd spot. Just Cody, what do you got?
You've called me Justin, Cody, and Charles, but anyway.
Sorry, Charles Wooten.
No, I got a minute to run down there from the production booth, which is actually now the production RV, just so you know. We ran over to the hauler, whatever you want to call it, for Mark Walls, talked to him, and he said truck feels good, it's fast, but it's still going to be neck and neck between him and Dennis Moore to see who gets the win.
And Charles, do not go anywhere. Got another truck series coming to LSRTV on Sunday nights. Let's talk about it real quick, my friend.
Yeah, we got the World of Thunder. They're still going to be doing some dirt about once a month, I was told, but they are leaving the dirt scene to come to the asphalt side of things. So still World of Thunder, because, well, it still thunder sounds, loud cars. But yeah, they are coming not this Sunday, the Sunday, the 2nd. They will start, obviously.
2 weeks from Sunday.
Yep, 2 weeks from Sunday. Yourself, Justin Prince, going to be on the call for that one. And I can say for a fact, and he'll watch this, and he'll probably, send me hate mail for it, but BJ Duvall was as giddy as a schoolgirl to have Justin Prince call the race. So he is super excited to have Justin on the call.
And me and Justin will be on the call Sunday nights. If I don't have any real racing obligations, obviously, then I will be right there with Justin. And Justin, there's another awesome truck series. And as we get ready for the restart, the World of Thunder has been so popular for close to a decade for its dirt scene. And now it's stepping out of the pages and moving into pavement. Wow.
And I'm very curious how it plays out, especially with how many top-tier drivers have taken part in the dirt scene. Just looking at some of the recent victors in the past year or so, you have drivers like Dustin Monburquette, you have some of the various pros on the dirt side. Going to be a question mark of who's going to be amongst the contenders once the oval side scene hits here, but who's going to be able to win it here from Homestead? Let's find out.
It will be 8 laps to go as the pace car peels onto the pit lane. Dennis Moore, he's got Walls on the outside, and we are back to it again with 8 to go here at Homestead. Great restart for the Old Glory 44. Moore checks away. Anderson back to second. Justin Prince as they work into turn 2.
Walls avoiding a bit of a bump from Bloom. Clears on by. Now looks to build the run on Anderson. To the back bumper into 3. Anderson takes it middle. Walls on the huge send. Harder send from Anderson. Can't get to the side of Moore. Walls just avoids Anderson's left rear fender as Bloom looks to set it up.
I'll tell you what, to the line, 7 to go. Jason, when his friends going to become foes, and when is it every man for themselves into 1?
Yeah, no, disregard that question completely. There ain't no friends here with just 7 laps to go at Homestead, Wesley. Its gloves are off, baby. They're heading down the back straightaway. You see Mark Walls sideways. Mark Walls has been such a fantastic driver here tonight. I don't blame him for being so frustrated with, like, pretty much half the field from what it seemed like. He's had so many good runs. You see him right here, going to slide up in front of Briar Reynolds. He's going to clear him, but just by a mere foot or 2 there as Briar works to the outside now. But, man, the gloves are off, and Caden Anderson, he's going to try to run down Dennis Moore as hard as he can here with these last 6 laps remaining.
Shootout time, 6. Now make it 5 to go when they come to the line. The leader, Dennis Moore, 3 wide behind them. There's Anderson in second. Bloom is right there in the 3rd spot. Single file, though, as they work their way to the line. Remember, if we get a caution, late race caution, there is an overtime. 3 attempts if necessary. The first 2 races of the year recorded overtime finishes. Right now, 5 to go. Dennis Moore is the leader. Anderson, Bloom, Justin, and they're all single file with plenty of distance between them.
Decent amount of distance. But meanwhile, a gang of drivers looking to sort themselves. West Jr. inside on Ryan Reynolds. Walls trying to hug the bottom. Has Walls burn him up. Dan Lowther on the fresh tires looking to the outside. Gets to the outside of West Jr. Here comes Robert Gambill on fresh tires too.
And Sean Brightsman about tagged the rear end of the car of Gamble, the truck of Gamble. They hold it together now. Look at this gaggle of traffic. Wadded up going off of that second turn. That's a storm brewing, if you will, there. There's a snake's patch on there, Jason, with 4 to go on the back straightaway.
I tell you what, if there's a late race yellow, Dan Lowther has just taken probably the best call he's ever had from winning last week in Atlanta. If he has a yellow flag, which it might happen, everybody's getting so loose there off the corner. Dan Lowther could be a 2-time winner here tonight because he is flying right now, along with other drivers who were able to take tires on that last stop. But he needs a yellow if he wants to try to contend for this win, but he's up the 4th.
2.5 laps to go. It'll be 2 to go when they come to the line of the back straightaway now. Briar Reynolds in the middle. So is Mark Walls. Dan West Jr. up there. There's contact, slamming and bamming. Reynolds right there in the middle lane. As here comes Newton. White clears them. 2 to go, Justin, here at Homestead.
Still an absolute busy gaggle. Right now, Lowther needs a caution. Moore right now in the best spot if it stays green. Looking to hold on by 4 truck lengths over Anderson and Bloom. Amongst those in the Hornet's Nest, looking to fight still. Newton with Chris White. Reynolds with a good viewpoint in that battle going on for the 6th spot. All of them going down towards the front straightaway. The leaders heading down towards the white flag through 3 and 4.
Dennis Moore right now hitting his marks, coming to the line. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. Jason, it's his race to lose. He's in a nice, comfortable spot in turn 1.
Yeah, Caden Anderson's doing everything he can, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Heartbreak for the kid who won this race practically last season. He's closing the gap, but it's just not going to be enough. Into 3 for the final time for Dennis Moore.
A strategy for pit stops needed after leading in the early going when his teammate Kevin Smith fell out. He gets back in the front in the late race pit stop, and Dennis Moore will come to the line and take the checkered flag to become the 3rd different winner this year of the Northwest Racing Series trucks, presented by CLICKIT RV. And the sponsor on the truck, Dennis Moore wins at Homestead. Caden Anderson just ran out of time, and so did Justin Prince. Ryan Bloom, who will have to settle on the podium for 3rd.
I think if we had a late race caution after tire strategy, We're talking about Dan Lather in victory lane with how quick he was coming on the tire difference. But the major thing in terms of consistency tonight, what a team effort, to say the very least, from not just Dennis Moore, but you also throw in Bloom. You also throw in, before the technical trouble from family, Kevin Smith. That entire outfit was lightning fast tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, they were. As the celebration begins now for the race team. And again, after teammate Kevin Smith fell out, it put an opportunity there for the CLICKIT RV guys, the Win Racing League team as they're called. And of course, consisting of Ritters, Bloom. By the way, you want another statistic? Listen to this. Out of the top three, 2 of the Win Racing team trucks for CLICKIT RV are in the top 3. Wow, look at the hang time. Launched into orbit. That's Robert Gamble and someone else that said, I believe I can fly. And we're not done yet. Okay, maybe we are. Here's your results. Dennis Moore is the winner. Caden Anderson second. Ryan Bloom third. Robert Gamble is in fourth. Dan Lowther fifth. Chris White, Paul Newton, Brian Reynolds, Mark Walls, Dan West Jr., the top 10. 11th will go to Jeff Stabnow, Sean Breitzman, Aaron Cooper, Kenneth Garber, Dylan Huffines, Stephen Paulison, Gary Nichols, Toby Ritters, Brett Greenwald, Chris Keynes, the top 20. You do the top 30, Justin, and then we'll let Jason also give the rest of the rundown of those 40 trucks that came to green here tonight.
John Bacher tonight, 21st. Troy Dagan, 22nd. Then you have Ron Hunter back in 23rd. A lap down. The first of those a lap down after his pit miscue. Jinian Ledbetter, very quiet tonight in 24th. Then Shane Quinn, he struggled a lot on how to stop at a pit box. Finished 2 laps down. Then you have Troy Olson back in 26th. Brian Barnes in 27th. 28th goes to Burke. Then a DNF tonight for Tom Rakeen as well as for Frank Harris, who peeled off to the back straightaway and stopped the truck. He finished in 30th, Jason.
Yeah, then to round out the rest of the field, you have Ryan Gormley coming home 31st. Stefan O'Hare, after a tough break early on in the race, 45 laps down, finishing 32nd. Roy Grande finishing 33rd. BJ Tidrick 34th. Eric Cheney 35th. BJ Duval 36th. Bryce Clark not in the number 93. He'll come home 37th. Chris Camere 38th. Dana Rogers 39th. And Kevin Smith, man, oh man, if it wasn't for them dang kids in Fortnite, he probably might have been sitting in victory lane here tonight. He finishes 117 laps down in the 40th position. And then Eric Cox, 41st tonight, did not start.
And that's the way it goes. One more final time. Virginia 811 call before you dig. Race summary for the event here tonight at Homestead. 5 cautions, 19 caution laps in total of the 134 laps of the distance. No overtime as well tonight. They went the original distance and only 3 lead changes. Coming up, it is the Press Box Motorsports Podcast post-race show. Justin, Jason, and myself will grab a word with the top 3. Dennis Moore for Win Racing, winning tonight for CLICKIT RV. And we will grab a word with a driver from Homestead-Miami when we return. This is coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, the Community Radio Network simulcast. And a great race wraps in for Dennis Moore to win again on 44. In a moment. Welcome to the Press Box Motorsports Podcast post-race show. Wesley Outland, Justin Prince, Jason Rockefeller alongside. They'll all ask a question to all three on the podium, and then we'll come up and close it out for you now tonight at Homestead. The winner again, Dennis Moore. We'll grab him in a minute, but first let's go to the third place man. Another one of the Win Racing CLICKIT RV drivers, the 25, Ryan Bloom. Ryan, your take of this race. I keep saying this week in, week out. I know you've not won yet, but you are being so consistent, and it is paying off for you. Another podium for the 25.
Yeah, thanks, Wesley. That was a lot of fun. I really just have to give credit to my team and Win Racing and all the guys put in a bunch of time this week. We wanted to kind of showcase kind of what we can do, not on the plate tracks, and just kind of see where we're stacked up, and we're really brought a fast CLICKIT RV Silverado today, and we really had it going on early, and we just kind of set sail and we kind of run our pace, run our race, and then what seems to always happen to me, something on pit road, so I slid through my box, put me a little behind, so those last 24 laps I was kind of running with a little bit of anger there, trying to catch back up. So those last 24 laps, whatever it was pretty intense. It was really good racing, really hard side-to-side racing, just trying to run Dennis down. I know he had a fast truck, so there was nothing holding me back trying to get up to him.
Indeed, an exciting one to say the very least tonight. And one of the major question marks I think some people may have here is, what was under the hood tonight? Because you as an entire grouping as a team seemed to be lightning quick.
Yeah, just a lot of time, a lot of laps, a lot of attention to detail. We thought we had a good set, but we just thought we can get a little bit more. So we just kept at it, and you saw the result tonight. And it was really great, for the first intermediate track to have a setup like that. So hopefully more things to come.
Yeah, Ryan, man, good job tonight. You were really short there coming into the pits. It looked like you overshot your pits heading in there on the last stop of the night. Is that really what costed you the win here tonight?
I don't know if that cost me the win. It was going to be tough, on the restart with that, like with Dennis and Caden and Mark and Dan. I think Dan West Jr. was back there, so it was going to be tough. But that definitely hurt me. I was trying to make some adjustments on the fly and just kind of overshot my box. So I'll have to get better at that if I want to have to beat a lot of talent in this series. And without mentioning, my teammates are pretty fast too. So it definitely can't make mistakes like that.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. Ryan, before I let you go, buddy, thank your sponsors. Good job on the podium again tonight.
Thanks, Wesley. I just want to thank sponsor CLICKITRV.com. You want to check out their 10-day RV show going on in Pendleton, Oregon at the Pendleton Convention Center. Big sale going on there, so if you get a chance, go check it out. And also want to thank LSRTV and the job you guys do a fantastic job, the broadcast. And just a shout out to Jeff and Sean and all the admins for putting on this series. It's been a great start to the season so far, and I love the turnout we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's been really cool to have over 40-plus trucks the last since the season started, no doubt for sure. And definitely one of those top contenders is Ryan Bloom. Another solid podium for Win Racing here tonight in the number 25. Runner-up of the race, the Daytona truck winner, Caden Anderson. Caden, your take of the crazy chaos and mayhem that is Progressive Banking Racing here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, and you finished second.
Yeah, I feel like tonight was actually a really good night for the series as a whole. I mean, we got a lot of green flag runs and then a couple cautions towards the end of the race, but overall it was a great race.
How difficult was it to climb through the field tonight since you didn't have the greatest qualifying runs? Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't really put any work into the setup this year. We just threw what we had in from last year, and it was pretty decent. We struggled a little bit early on in the race, but it was a pretty good race. Everybody raced pretty clean and got to the front when we needed to.
Yeah, Kid, man, you were one of the drivers I said to really look out for here tonight. You won here last time in the darkness for the season finale in season number 9. Heading into this race, obviously had to do some climbing through the field. If you could have changed anything on that final restart there with those handful of laps, would you have done anything different to try to get past Dennis?
No, Dennis and Ryan and even Kevin, all three of them had probably the best trucks. So I don't know if there's really anything I could have done different to get by them, but I gave it my all, and congrats to them.
Hayden, I want you to segue this into thanking your sponsors as well, but what do you take from tonight's event to prepare you for the Xfinity race come Wednesday night?
I won't be able to make the Xfinity race on Wednesday, but I think tonight for most of the guys it shows that patience and save your right rear, and you'll be probably pretty good towards the end.
All right, buddy, sponsors.
I want to thank Harvest Chevrolet and Studio 10 Wraps, and I also want to thank CLICKIT RV for being the sponsor of the series.
There you go. There's Caden Anderson, Daytona winner already at Daytona in the trucks, and of course, going to miss him not being in the Wednesday night race here at Homestead, but a solid podium finish. And out of victory lane we go. Another driver, 2 out of 3 on the podium for Win Racing, CLICKIT RV, and Kevin Smith jumped on me on social media a couple of weeks ago. But hey guys, look at these trucks, look at these guys, they're coming through the field. Dennis Moore, congratulations to you. What is this, like your 4th or 5th career Northwest win, I believe, and first win of the season for the trucks?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the tally starts over every year for me. I was come out here try to get a win every race, but no, this CLICKIT RV Chevrolet was super fast. Like Ryan said, we put a ton of time in, probably more time than I put in any track, just because we thought we had the fastest trucks the last 2 races, but plate track racing, you can't really show your speed. But we're really excited for the rest of the year. Kevin put together a really good Q set. Obviously qualified 1, 2, 3, and then we led every lap between the 3 of us for this race. So awesome showing for CLICKIT RV.
Yes, indeed. Some very stellar pace tonight. I will say this. How was the thought process like when you had the caution after the pit cycle, having to try and fight back up on 6-7 lap older tires?
That was quite frustrating because I was about to pass Ryan to get back on the lead lap. They coming through the field with all those lap cars and other guys on older tires. It was tough. I just stayed patient and I got through there without any incidents, so it was good.
Yeah, Dennis, man, congratulations on your win. You guys were so fast tonight. And I tell you who was going to be fast, and I want to ask what your reaction was to what happened with Kevin and his kid there, because that was, man, I would not want to be in the Smith household if I was at that point.
I told Kevin to unplug his computer or ground him or something like that, because if that happened to me, I'd be really frustrated, especially with the setup that we had. It was going to be tough for all 3 of us to pass each other if we were running nose to tail, so pit strategy was going to come out the winner.
Dennis, final question. Segue this into thanking your sponsors as well, my friend. What do you take out of this new program that you guys have got for Win Racing and the CLICKIT RV program? And even with the highs and the lows, there's still a nice way to celebrate it with you guys winning and 2 out of 3 on the podium here tonight.
Yeah, you know what? Ryan and Kevin and I worked together a lot in the off season, so we decided to team up this year, and I think it's going to be really tough for a lot of these guys to beat us on the setups that we're putting together. We've been working 2 weeks ahead on setups. That's how far ahead we are. With our sponsors, CLICKIT RV, obviously, CLICKITRV.com. Like Ryan said, they got a big sale going on in Pendleton, Oregon. Go out and check it out. I think Kevin said he's got over 100 RVs going out there. And then Bomb Speed is our setup shop. Thanks, guys.
Speed, I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, 3rd different winner in 3 races. It is now, of course, joining Caden Anderson and Dan Lowther. Dennis Moore, 3rd different winner here tonight when it's all said and done at Homestead. Remember the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. Xfinity B cars will be in action on Wednesday. Jason and myself will be on the call on that one as well. And I gotta get your thoughts on this in closing. Terry, I'm sorry, Justin and Jason, and then I get your thoughts and we'll wrap her up. We saw a race that definitely was not super speedway material. There wasn't the high banks, there wasn't the 4 and the 5 wide, the calamity, the big ones. It was actually a race that it sounds like from a lot of drivers, Justin Prince, on the podium said, we enjoyed running this race. This was a good race. This showed our strengths and even weaknesses, but at the end of the day, it sounds like everybody had fun.
Everybody had fun, especially since this is one of the best tracks to race out of the mile and halves, in my opinion, because of the various different parts of the track you can run, with the banking, with how things play out long run, with the different diverse lines you could run in theory. It's an exciting racetrack in turn, and we've seen that throughout the night tonight with the long green flag runs. It's the exactly type of race you want to have as a competitor, and in turn it allows the cream to rise to the top in terms of who the best trucks are, or what drivers have the best trucks. In turn, we've seen that tonight.
Jason, your thoughts on things, buddy? Good job here tonight as well.
Yeah, it was one heck of a race to call for sure with you guys, and especially shout out to Charles for pushing all the buttons here tonight. We had a good time here in the booth. I really enjoyed the race, honestly. I thought it was really going to be a dominance of usually one guy was going to be strung out, but that wasn't the case because I came into tonight, and I sat down at my computer, and I was like, it's going to be a night race. There's going to be a lot of grip. It's not going to be really strung out. And then I find out it's a day race when I get on here, so that was interesting. A lot of guys definitely show their strengths. Mark Walls, I know for a fact he is definitely on the hot seat right now because if I were him, I would have been PO'd for sure after this one because he was one of the fastest guys. Always was getting held up by somebody. Dan Lowther had a very, very strong showing after last week's run. He was in the back most of this race and then came through with that, that last caution, took tires. So good job for him. But yeah, this definitely showed a lot of strengths and weaknesses for a lot of certain drivers and a lot of certain teams. So should be an interesting season for sure. And I honestly expect a lot of guys you didn't really see up front last season to be up front this season for sure.
I'll say this in closing as well, no doubt about it. Tough break for Kevin Smith, but the sentiments of what he said a few weeks ago with me in chat, Win Racing is going to be some powerhouse team that we're going to have to watch out, no doubt here in just the opening 3 races of the year. They have made their presence felt. Make no dumb bones about it. Not only Dennis Moore winning, I know Kevin Smith, we'll talk to him in Victory Lane soon, and definitely Ryan Bloom. Definitely some talents in that program, no doubt about it. And again, not taking anything away from any of the other race teams because there is some great powerhouses on the Northwest. But for sure, Win Racing has really stepped up, no doubt about it, in 2023. That's going to do it for our coverage. We're back next Monday night, of course, for coverage of round number 4. And then, of course, remember the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series will be here at Homestead on Wednesday night. Thursday night, the Northwest Dirt Super Late Model Series. All of that coverage going on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. And, of course, go to Northwest Racing Series. If you are a Northwest competitor and you want to join the league, either on dirt or pavement for Xfinity, B-Setup cars, or the trucks. For everybody at Rocket Racing Media, iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network, for Jeff Stabnow and Charles Wooten. For Jason Rockefeller and Justin Prince, it's great to have you back. I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations to, again, Dennis Moore, winner tonight at Homestead-Miami. We'll see you Wednesday. And for the truck fans of the Northwest, we're back